Um, Goal setting is a very attractive idea to me because I think without a challenging goal to strive for and bash against, life seems a bit blunt and very boring, for me at least. Now, I experienced this during the COVID 19 lockdowns. The goal during that period was to just sit and do nothing. And it's the worst period of my life. And surprisingly enough, some people say they liked it because of that. They didn't have to do anything. Okay, most of them are my peers, so they were being taken care of by then. However, I think I'm wired differently because I really hated that. Waking up, doing nothing, wake up, go back to sleep. It was boring. Anyway, it's no wonder I think we romanticize about New Year's resolutions because of setting goals. Even though we have been setting the same goals the past 3 to 5 years without achieving them, we still set them every new year. So, what prompted me to think deeply about this was two statements from my best friend, and we were talking about our goals. And he told me that, bro, we don't have goals, we just have wish lists. Then I was like, what do you mean? He was like, if we had goals, we would have progress reports to show what we have done, what we have achieved so far in regards to our goal. And I was like, bro, how do you come up with something like that? Anyway, this this hit me like a nuclear bomb on my head because I was slowly giving up on my one of my goals for 2026, and that goal was to make YouTube videos so that I can become better at communicating, basically, to improve my communication skills. Now, you should remember this the way I've framed this goal, because we are going to come back to it. So, when we are setting goals, we have a picture in our minds. However, in reality, that picture never turns out exactly the way we had it in our brains or our minds. Now, I think this is where my best friend's idea of the progress report becomes useful, because when you go out to achieve your goal, you realize that things are not as easy as you thought they would be. So you have to keep on adjusting how you're achieving your goal and also determine whether this goal is actually worth it. Is it worth achieving? There are very many reasons why we don't follow through with our goals, but I think one of the main ones is having a goal that is not worth achieving. Like when you go out to achieve a goal, your brain is like, bro, man, we don't need this. And you slowly give up. Before you know it, you have not achieved your goal. So, taking my scenario for instance, at the beginning of the year, my goal was to make at least one long form YouTube video, like 10 to 12 minutes or 15, one video a week, then mainly about fitness. Then from that video, I cut it into clips to make short form videos or for TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube shorts. However, I quickly realized that, first of all, editing is hard. My PC can't edit well. Editing software is expensive. Recording is hard. Um, what else? Audio. My audio is shit. Right now I'm using this earphones, and very many others. So I decided to pivot my strategy to make short videos for TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube videos only. However, this was fun for a bit, but it also became hard. Things are not easy, guys. It also became hard. It's very hard. It's very hard to break down information into 30 seconds to 60 seconds videos. It's really not easy. You end up doing funny memes, which get views, yes, but they're not stimulating your brain, which is one of my aim into making content. So I also gave up on that one. So I started recording an audio weekly podcast talking about fitness again. Now this was a sweet spot because it would intellectually stimulate me, because I would research about these topics and come and communicate them. However, it started also feeling a bit off because I was just reading out facts with little consideration to my audience in mind or where it's going to be applied. So I was like, because in my mind I was becoming like my high school teachers or university teachers. I used to criticize because of teaching things that I wasn't seeing any application for. So this also started feeling a bit hopeless. Now, it was at this point that my best friend told me the statements above. Then I re-evaluated my goal and I was like, what is worth achieving here? Like, what is your goal mainly? Because if you have a why, you can come up with anyhow. I think that's the Nietzsche quote. A man with a why can come up with anyhow. Now, remember how I framed my goal. Above there, making YouTube videos and becoming better at communicating. I realized I was confusing the goal in a way. My goal was not to make YouTube videos or make nicely edited YouTube videos about fitness. But my goal, what I really wanted, was to become better at communicating. And making videos was a means of achieving that, because I'm making these videos, I'm posting them, and there's a risk people can criticize me. I'm putting myself out there. I'm being vulnerable because I don't know how to communicate yet, but I'm getting better. So that's actually my goal, is to become better at communicating and improving my communication skills. This doesn't require me to have a niche like fitness, which I was tying on. So having a niche is for people who are trying to build a great personal brand and all that. Now the funny thing is that in the same conversation with my best friend, while we were talking, he asked me, like, why are you really making these videos or making content? And I was like, I thought for a while, and I was like, I want to build a personal brand. Then he was like, you can, if you have the end in mind, you can come up with a process to get there. But in retrospect, I don't think I want to build a personal brand. Now, I don't think that's my goal as for now. So I resorted to making videos about anything I want, anything I'm interested in. Maybe in the future I will get a niche and build a personal brand and all that. I don't know. Maybe I'll make videos that I'll never make public. Maybe I'm just documenting my life. I don't know. That's becoming actually it's becoming popular these days among my generation. Document your 20s. I don't know, but I don't know what the future holds, but I think the best way to get there is to live in the moment.